Peace, family, and welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Radio. This is your host, Brother Rich, and I'm back with Professor Griff and Sister Zaza Ali. What's happening?
Peace.
Glad to have y'all back on the show.
All right.
I seen, I was on the internet, everybody was hashtagging this something, I think it's Tidal for all. So then yesterday happened. I seen a press conference with a bunch of artists: Jay-Z, Madonna, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce. A lot of the pop culture artists, and they had this big conference talking about a music streaming service. So I was like, damn, I gotta look into this, and I definitely want to talk to Griff and Zaza about it. Griff, Public Enemy. Griff been into this music thing since I was a young boy. So I definitely got to get Griff's. I got to get Griff's opinion on it. And everything we do, as a people, black people, we're music. The way we walk is music. The way we talk, the way we, just everything. It's always been a part of our culture, dance and music. So it's nothing we could get away from. And a lot of people watching it, some of the younger people, I'm sure maybe they might have aspirations to get into music. So people was making it as it was a monumental conference, and this is going to change the direction in music forever. So basically, they feel like they're getting raped. They feel like they're getting robbed. They want to put it to end. I guess Jay-Z is the top guy in charge. I guess, I'm not sure. I'm assuming since I keep seeing his name the most. They're saying that artists is getting robbed from these streaming services such as Spotify and Pandora. There's a black artist, pop singer called Aloe Black. Last year, he received a $4,000 check for 168 million streams. So they saying they don't want to see that no more. So they saying they taking more control over it. Just in general, before we get into the questions, Professor Griff, Sister Zaza, I've been hearing so much mixed reviews. I heard some things about the Illuminati. I heard all types of stuff when I seen the music conferences all over social media. What are you guys' general take on what you've seen and what you're hearing all over social media with this?
Well, basically, just from the outstart, when you're looking at it from a fan's perspective, of course you may get caught up into the hype and the glitz and glamour and the $1 million press conference, the big screens and the not so glamorous outfits, but little postures to show your adornments and letting people know that you're still an artist, whether you're at a press conference or you go picking up your 3-year-old from the babysitter. And we've seen the collection of all of the big money makers in the music industry on stage that night who've been raping the industry for a long, long time. Now, they've been raped, but now I think this is their chance to do the raping. So if you draw a circle real quick and you divide the pie up, Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, and you could take that last pie and divide it up among a few people, right? I think these people got together and say, wait a minute, if the rest of that pie is going to be eaten, I think that we should get the rest of that pie. Let's get together. Let's tell the fans they can own this with us. But if you do closer investigation, first of all, the company's out of Sweden, right, if I'm not mistaken. And the people in the United States, if you are going to dispute anything, you got to hire an international lawyer to dispute anything. And then second of all, I think Jay-Z dumped so much money in it, he has to figure out how he's going to get his $54 to $56 million back out of it. And then they closed down the whole idea of you trying to get stocks and shares in it. So what's going to happen is like they're doing on iTunes. You have to be in the game for a certain period of time. You have to have clout. You have to be what's the terminology when you have a company but you have another company that's kind of linked into that company. The terminology will come to me in a minute. But you can't sign directly to Tidal or the major companies. You have to go through a subsidiary. So subsidiaries have to be set up in order for you to get paid and get in on it anyway. One last point, because I don't want to be too talkative. You're right. this artist named Black sold 168 million downloads and streams and listens, and what do you call them? Not hits. What do you call it in the music industry? I guess downloads.
Streams, right? That's what they
streams, right?
Yeah.
And to receive a $4,000 check now, listen, I failed ninth grade math, but maybe y'all can help me. 4,000 into 168 million is what? Less than the pennies you can find in the credit card couch.
Yeah.
That's a spit in the face. If that's what the fans have to look forward to, I bow out, bro, right now.
Well, I'm curious if under this particular platform, if this artist would be offered something different. Like, okay, I see how it can be beneficial for high-selling artists like Rihanna and Madonna, but what is the benefit to, everyday average artists who may get a lot of, may have that one-hit wonder? And we've seen a lot of artists like that in the last couple of years where, they've had that one song that pushed them into fame, especially internet fame, and then they just kind of fizzled out. A couple of things really stood out to me in the press conference. I noticed the emphasis on the power of music. Mm-hmm. And I noticed the emphasis on this idea of this being a revolutionary act that's going to change the game. Well, the music that we are currently, a lot of pop music and pop culture today is killing the minds of the younger generation and the majority of the global population. So this can be a revolutionary act and a change of guard, if you will, if they change the content of the music. And that's something that I didn't hear discussed, and probably I understand why they didn't discuss it. This is a business transaction. But the broader conversation needs to be that all of these artists who obviously have very loyal fan bases need to start thinking a little bit more about their content. Rihanna has a new song called "Bitch Better Have My Money." You know what I'm saying? And when we look at some of the things that these artists who clearly, especially Nicki Minaj, who clearly have established themselves and are financially set, at what point does the conversation start gearing towards, okay, we need to start putting out a different type of message so that while we are getting rich, while we are taking care of financially and making right business moves, that we are empowering other people. This whole idea of changing the game, I think it's more of getting in where they fit in as far as the new system is concerned. I don't think this is a change of the game. Now, will it financially benefit them? Of course. I think it's a great business move. I think the press conference was choreographed well. And that seeing all of that star power, you said it, the social media went crazy. Why? Did they promise to, start doing something that's going to benefit, the average person? Are they going to do something for, I don't know. To me, it seems like, and I was asking Griff, I said, how much money do you think was in the room at that point in time? On that stage, right. The net worth of all of those giants on that stage. At what point... You know what I'm saying? No, I was just going to say, at what point do they come together and do something that's beyond themselves? But as far as a business move, I see where it's going, and if it works, then wonderful move.
Yeah, but even as a business move, Brother Rich, I think the whole idea to lie to us to say it's for the fans and the artists, and this is an artist-owned global music platform, and it's going to revolutionize what's going to happen in the future. So let's think about that. Who do they plan on selling music to? We understand how, through streaming, but who do they plan on selling music to if it's going to be a global music platform? Just in the nature of what Alicia Keys said, and keep in mind, all of this is based off of a reaction from what Taylor Swift did. Remember?
Right. She pulled her catalog
right
from Spotify.
Right. So keep that in mind. Now, what happens when Taylor Swift, this white woman, makes a move on the chessboard, and it's a ripple effect now? And now other artists got to get together. 20 other artists got to get together to figure out what's the next move, because Taylor Swift said, no, I don't want my music given away for free. You know what Taylor Swift is actually saying to all of us?
What?
Shoot. Oh, I thought that was you, Brother Rich. Jazz came on. Sorry, I'm calling you like that. Let me call you right back. I'm doing an interview. So listen. So when Taylor Swift made her move, right, it's a ripples effect. But what is Taylor Swift actually saying? She's basically saying, no, I'm not going to give my music away for free while other people make money. In essence, what she was saying is, what they do, Brother Rich, is they sign you a contract to America. And then they have the new language in the contract, which they used to say was international. Now, then the language grew to global, like they're going to sell music globally. Then the language in the contracts changed, Brother Rich, to galactic and universal, like they're going to start selling music on Mars. What they're doing, Brother Rich, is if a music stream comes off a satellite somewhere, the artists have less control over it, and it's hard to prove if your music is being sold in Sweden somewhere, and you live in damn Decatur, Georgia. Are you following me?
Right. Do you guys think, and I always hear Zaza use this analogy, the tenant versus landlord for mindset. Do you think, as far as like in a business sense, do you think this was Jay-Z making a landlord move, saying, I'm going to take control over this? You know, because we always talk about, when you see a white guy and a black guy in close proximity, I heard a lot of people say in the past, 9 out of 10 times the black guy is usually working for the white guy. So we're like always under their ass or whatever. Do you look at this as like a power move, or like Sister Zaza says, like him taking that landlord philosophy, saying I'm taking control over all my shit right now?
Well, my thing is, we have to keep in mind the deal that Jay-Z signed was a 360 deal. Someone owned Jay-Z. He may come off as though he's this hip-hop mogul kind of guy, but I think Jay-Z makes his money in other areas, if you really look at it. Okay. If you look at his pie chart. You understand what I'm saying? So I think he had to come back and do this kind of deal to start making money in the music industry again, because with a 360 deal, he's bought and paid for. This is why I think he's such a great doesn't mean good, great businessman in other areas. I don't care if it's the clothing area or the fashion area or other areas. So I think he had to come back and make his mark back in the music industry. And we, as the people, have never had our mark. Ever since Motown, ever since Philly International, ever since some of these labels that, we are very prominent at and owned, I don't think we've ever have at our former glory. We didn't reach our former glory that we once had with the music industry. And I think this is one thing Jay-Z is trying to do, with help from some of the people that he feels controls the music industry on a certain level, Brother Rich, because country music is probably the number one selling music in America. Right. You understand what I'm saying? But like you and some of the other people have said under the comments of some of the YouTube clips dealing with Jay-Z's Tidal, this company, it's a who's who of the so-called Illuminati. All of these people on that stage were millionaires. What do they have to lose? They don't have anything to lose, Brother Rich, and everything to gain. The artists have been raped. The vast majority of the artists and the ones I know have been raped. And, of course, the fans have been raped, because here we are, yet again, buying the same songs in 5 different mediums. We bought it on the 8-track, the cassette, the wax. Now we're buying it in digital format, CD. We're buying it in movies on soundtracks, and they keep regurgitating the same music over, and we're just buying it in different formats.
Well, I know this is and when I talk like this, people take issue because they feel like, celebrities have the right to do with their money whatever they want to do, and we shouldn't hold them to, any sort of accountability as far as what they do or what they don't do for our people. I wouldn't say this is a tenant move, but I would say that it doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't constitute a landlord move, because we were driving on our way to Chicago, and we drove through Gary, Indiana. And I said, and obviously just from the highway, I can see the blighted conditions of Gary, Indiana. And I said, can you imagine if the Jacksons came back they had the type of money and the type of clout and the type of star power to build a fully self-sustainable Black community. Can you imagine if Motown, all of those artists who came up out of that era, had actually invested in Detroit? Can you imagine if Oprah Winfrey, with the money and the star and the clout that she has and the star power that she has, actually went into Chicago and invested her voice and her money and her time? That's a landlord move.
Okay.
You know, our money, you can't take your money with you when you pass on. And, you know, there's only so many businesses and so many different investments that you can make to capitalize on your money. Okay, that's cool. But how many communities are you actually building that will reciprocate and go through different families and different generations? See, we're talking about being rich versus being wealthy, and it's not just a money thing. Were you going to say something, Brother Rich?
Yeah, real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, Sister Zaza, but before I forget, this is kind of like directly related to what you just said. As far as I remember when Oprah Winfrey, and I'm glad you brought that up, and I want to get your opinion on it, Griff, as well. When she made that move and invested in the school in South Africa, a lot of people criticized her for building the school outside of the country. So some people said, well, goddamn, anything they do, people gonna complain about it. She built a school for young Black women, and mofos is still complaining about it just because it's not in Chicago. So on one end, I definitely understand what you're saying, but on another end, people are saying whatever they do, there's gonna be bickering and people are gonna be complaining. With that, just using that particular example as Oprah for an example. What do you think about that?
Well, I think, first of all, I would never criticize Oprah for building a school in Africa. That's the motherland. So she gets props for doing that. But when we step, you know, that you have the saying, to whom much is given, much is expected. Jay-Z went to Africa and, you know, did a photo op with Bill Gates, who is the devil. No doubt about it. This dude is like Satan walking with so many different projects to kill our people, particularly in Africa. So Jay-Z does a photo op and talks about the, importance of water rights and building these wells in these different rural village-type settings. And Umar Johnson, I was watching him in a lecture one day, and he talked about how Black celebrities, you see how they tend to go out into international type environments and get involved, but you never really see them here on the ground where they come from, their own communities, getting their hands dirty and really getting involved. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. And I think Nas said in one of his songs, how can the president go fix problems all across the world when we haven't fixed home yet? How can these celebrities, how can Oprah Winfrey, not see the plight of the brothers and sisters in Chicago, especially the children, and not do something to add to that? I think that's scary to me, that you can be worth as much money as she's worth. She could spend half of her money and still generations in the future of her children will never have to worry about money, or her offspring, or whatever she does with her money. Jay-Z made a living off of talking about the plight of being in the inner city, came up selling drugs. How many lives did he destroy selling dope? How many mothers and grandmothers and families did he destroy in selling dope? And, of course, we know when you're dealing with the dope game, there's a ripple effect way beyond the person who hits the pipe.
Right,
people
right.
Getting killed. You know what I'm saying? What is his responsibility to those people coming up in the hood? So I don't know. I hold you to a high standard, Brother Rich. I place, as a Black woman, I have a demand that is placed on you, as well as Griff and all of the other brothers who are in this struggle with us. Why is Jay-Z and Rihanna and Nicki Minaj exempt to that when they're in a position to actually affect change? I don't understand that.
Brother Rich, I think that we are talking about something that is going on in the lives of Black people that will affect younger Black people. But let me ask you something, Brother Rich. Is this conversation being had with people that are truly moving pieces around on the chessboard? Who else is having this conversation? And does it matter, Brother Rich? And then what kind of conversation do they have prior to doing the press conference? They know they're going to get some people like us to talk about it, to science it up. They're already working on collateral damage. There's no one to come back at those particular artists because all of those artists are in a position to control their own destiny. You know why, Brother Rich? No CDs are selling, and there's no guaranteed way to count downloads. When was the last time you seen an artist bragging about downloads? You know, Beyonce was the last one that I seen bragging about she had 1 million downloads in a week. But even Beyonce had to do a video for every song on the album. What does that say for the average artist, Brother Rich, that don't have money to do a video for every artist? Will they be like what's the chick name? Azalea Banks? Do they have to take their clothes off and do a spread for Playboy? You understand what I'm saying? So we need to understand who else is having this particular conversation. And are we foolish enough to think, Brother Rich, that millionaires are now going to allow thousandaires or hundredaires to come along now and make the money that they're making? Come on, Brother Rich. Let's just be smart. Let's be smart about it. That's not going to happen.
What now, with that being said, Griff and Zaza, what do you think about the mentality of the internet where it seems as though, because the perspective they're coming from is that music is undervalued. And I've heard, not just with music, but with other art forms as well, I've heard people say the same thing, even lecturers. I've heard countless times saying that their work is not valued no more because you could get it on YouTube for free, or you could get it on this site for free, or you could, or because of CD, or you could stream it. You could go to Crosswire and get it for free. So what's your take? And this is like a lot of art forms. It's just, I mean, I even heard, I was watching DJ Vlad, and DJ Vlad, was he talking to no, he wasn't talking to Lord Jamal. I forgot who he was talking about too. But even they was talking about porn. And somebody was saying the porn industry sales is down because people are getting porn for free now. So it's like, what do you think? Griff said, damn. So do you think that the people are just, nothing is of value no more? Everybody wants everything for free? And if Griff says, listen, y'all, or Zaza says, listen, y'all, I just wrote this book. It took me 3 years. It's on sale for $19.99, and everybody's sitting around saying, well, damn, let me see if I can get the PDF file for free. Do you think you will feel the same as these artists feel, or as other lecturers feel, or people from other art forms feel as though nothing is of value these days and just everybody wants something for free on the internet now?
Well, I can only speak from my own experience. I looked at, I was traveling, and I said to myself, if there was any books that I would have to study to do this particular lecture that I was going to do, because I was revisiting a college that had me speak for the second time. What books would I take with me? You know, I took Barudi's book, dealing with revolutionary daily quotes. But I took my own 3 books, Brother Rich. I took the Psychological Covert War on Hip-Hop Analytics, and I took the Acapella Revolution. Why? I took those books because I value what I put in those books. And I stood on my own shoulders that night to give a lesson and teach some valuable lessons from my own body of work. I value my work. And I think the people that understand the amount of time and effort and resources that you put into writing a book, you set it at a price that you think the average person or the person that you know who reads your book can afford, Brother Rich. You understand what I'm saying? We already know we live in a day and age where it's technologically advanced to the point where some people can get your book before you can get it on PDF or just period. Just sitting on my laptop right now. So I don't know what kind of means that they have. Well, I do know what kind of means that they have to snatch it and send it back out through the rest of the world. But we have to be able to value it. I value right now when I go see Nwadimu Kebamani Baruti speak, or when I go see Anthony Browder or Umar Abdullah Johnson, or whatever. I value it. So I pay for it because I know that artist, that lecturer, or that spoken word artist, or that brother doing songs on his album. I know that he put time and effort into it, and I'll pay. I don't have a mind. I don't mind, and I don't have a problem paying. Those people that never had to work for anything, Brother Rich, they're the ones that mind paying. They had never had to work for anything. And I was talking to Zaza earlier. Remember me saying to you that how is it that people today don't feel this whole sense of gratitude that they could just open their computer and go online and find anything? Back in the day, I had to go to the library, Rich. Did you?
Right,
I had
yeah.
to have a library card. I had to buy books. I was driving, parking today in my raggedy car, and I was looking at this white BMW. I don't know why I like white cars, but I said, wow, that's a nice car. I could own something like that. I said, but nah, I probably want to buy about 40, 50 more books before that I have in mind before I invest in a white BMW. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Even though the desire is there, my needs overrides and supersedes my wanting to look fly in a white convertible BMW. You understand what I'm saying? Simply because there's a volume of work out there I know I need to get my hands on to complete and satisfy my soul and what I need to do as far as my life work, which is completing this homeschool curriculum.
Well, I'm getting me a BMW. It might not be white, but I'm gonna get one. X5, hopefully a hybrid, so I can contribute to saving the planet. But I think that music artists, are getting back exactly what they've given. This music that's out today, first of all, the masses of people on the planet suffering and living very mundane and mediocre lives. So music is an escape for them. So you got brothers and sisters and just people all over the world who are living in extreme poverty, who are listening to artists brag about their lifestyle. The music today is about individualism and greed and materialism. Is it not a coincidence that everybody feels like they out for themselves? You got Beyonce putting out songs called "Bow Down, Bitches," and then you turn around in the next breath and say, support my creativity. What are you putting out in your message? I mean, in your work that is inspiring people. Or are you putting out a message? I said this in one of my lectures a couple of weeks ago, how homosexuals seem to gravitate towards her music. And if you look at some of these sick videos online, we were watching the Prancing Elites, and they had a song, and they were dancing to Beyonce's music. What is it about her music that is tapping into that particular frequency? So, and just to prove that the whole idea of, people being disconnected from, or music is undervalued, De La Soul put up a Kickstarter to raise $110,000 for them to do their new project, their new album. I think it's been 2 days, maybe 3 days. They've raised $286,502. So people are looking for something, for good music to resonate with. But if you're going to put out music like Usher had a song telling Nicki Minaj to go and get him abroad so they can do a Menage a Trois, if you're putting out music like that, then you shouldn't expect to get support from anybody except these parasites who signed your contract in the first place. Music can have healing powers. It can be uplifting. It can be spiritual. It can be godly. What do you call it? The whole idea of sound and resonating frequencies. What was the video I did in my lecture? Climatics? Not climatics. It'll come to me. There's a term for it. Where they had some salt that was put on a speaker, and they raised the tones from low frequencies all the way up to high frequencies, and they created all of these really intricate and powerful patterns that we see in Kemet, that we see in Moorish Spain. Yes, music can be very uplifting and elevating, but it can also destroy you. And the music that's out right now is destroying you. Madonna, what has Madonna contributed? For the world to say, okay, I want to back her and make sure that she is, that she gets her fair share. No, you put out that type of energy into the world, you're going to get it reciprocated back to you.
So, Brother Rich, I hope that the whole idea, Zaza was talking about somatic experience.
Let me say something real quick, Brother Rich, because I think these artists are so out of touch. And I wrote down as I was listening to you ask the question. You're rapping about Bentleys and $2,000 shoes, and then you got an artist like Kanye West crying about not being accepted into the fashion industry. You hear Kendrick Lamar's new album. That brother he's talking about the reality of being black in America and the reality of the war that's been waged on us and the war that we've waged on ourselves. People are more prone to. I bought Kendrick Lamar's album. I bought D'Angelo's album, and I could have easily downloaded them for free. But I'm not paying for somebody to sit around and talk about their Bentley and their money and how much power they have. I'm not doing that.
It's almost a spit in the face, Brother Rich. Now, like I said, I don't mind. I want to go to a lecture. I pay my money like everyone else. Let me tell you something, Brother Rich. Some people will say at Professor Griff's peak, they used to see me in line, standing in line like everyone else to get into the comedy club or go get into the movies or waiting to get a seat at a restaurant. When people that know me come out and say, "Oh, Professor Griff, come on, man, you can come right in." Nope, I'll stay out here with the people. People that have booked me to do certain events have sit in the limousine. I said, nope, I'll just take a regular taxi or a regular car. You understand what I'm saying? If we're going to speak for the people, we have to be among the people. So I'm saying that to say this. I'm an artist. I'll support other artists, which I often do. But I'm not going to support an artist and pay my money for an artist to turn around and call me a nigger on every other line of the album, man. I'm not going to do that.
I want to ask you, son, I heard a lot of Illuminati references on the internet when the conference was held, and Madonna made she made a statement, I guess, on her Instagram or somewhere, and she said people are always using, this is Madonna, people are always using the word Illuminati, but they're always referencing it in an incorrect way. People often accuse me of being a member of the Illuminati, and I think in today's pop culture, the Illuminati is perceived as a group of powerful, successful people who are working behind the scenes to control the universe, not people with consciousness, not people who are enlightened. The real Illuminati were a group of scientists, artists, philosophers, writers who came about in what is referred to as the Age of Enlightenment, after the Dark Ages, when there was no writing and no art and no creativity and no spirituality. And life was really at a standstill. Of course, they were powerful because they influenced people, but their goal was to inspire and enlighten. So when people refer to me as a member of the Illuminati, I always want to say thank you. Thank you for putting me in that category. What is your take on this response to all of these Illuminati references that were made toward them? What is your response? Madonna said this to the people who are calling them Illuminati, quote unquote, for lack of better words, Illuminati. What is your opinion on this response she has for the people?
Madonna's absolutely 99% correct. The definition that she gave is right on point. When she talks about the illuminated ones, holders of the light. Now, whether or not, and then she made the mistake. One thing, the reason why I say 99%, because she made a statement about life being at a standstill. Never with black people. Never with us. Maybe their lives are at a standstill. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you talk about life at a standstill, who was she talking about? In the age of enlightenment, you mean white people being enlightened? Because we've always had the 24 scientists on deck. Do you understand what I'm saying? So life was never at a standstill. But to answer that directly, no, she's not part of the Illuminati. She's absolutely correct with what she said. They use the term incorrectly, and I've been saying this for the last 8 years. The Illuminati are the holders of the light. They have 13 bloodlines. And I keep saying over and over, Jay-Z and the rest of them, and the rest of these people that you see to the stage with this title situation, they're not part of the Illuminati. Now, can they carry out the Luciferian agenda, which I think they are? Yes, of course. This is just another way of controlling the information, especially music, that comes into the heart, heads, and minds, and spirit, and soul of the masses of the people. They got this thing on lock. I said 20 minutes ago, if you draw a circle and you cut the pie up, all of them control the whole entire pie on how we interact and resonate with music. We don't control anything. And I think this is very, very unfair. Now, the question that should be asked right now, Brother Rich, is who are their handlers? Who controls Tidal? And what's the other company? Aspiro? Yeah. Who controls Aspiro? Who controls Spotify? Who controls Pandora? Who controls iTunes? Now, let's get that group of people together, and let's see if we see any complexion in that damn room. And let's see how much money in that room. Are you following me? So this is very real when you're talking about a global music platform.
You know, it's always funny to me when, you know, people like Madonna try to make these highly, you know, what's the word for it? You know, these statements like they are, you know, operating from a sense of, you know, a higher perspective or an intelligent perspective, and then you get on stage and act like a hoe.
Right.
I don't understand that. Who are you enlightening? Who are you enlightening with your art form? When I look back at the first thing that comes into my mind when I think about Madonna is "Justify My Love," which was one of the sickest videos that ever, and MTV promoted that like crazy. And then in the conference, or the what do you call it? In the press conference, she put her leg up on the table. She couldn't even walk up to the table and sign her signature without, you know, reminding everybody who and what she is. So stop with that talking. Yeah, to me, when I hear people like what? But the real illuminated ones, prior to the Dark Ages and prior to what we know as the Illuminati, was the original man and woman. And, you know, we could talk about the Dogon, we could talk about ancient Kemetic societies, we could talk about the Olmecs, we could talk about the original Native Americans, we could talk about the Sufis, we can talk about the Moors. Those are the real illuminated ones. And that's the important lesson for us, because, yes, we have the whole idea, the whole Illuminati and this very small number of white men who are controlling everything basically around the globe. But then we also have who we truly are, and the reason why they use people like Jay-Z and Rihanna and Beyonce to keep our music at such a low vibration, because they know that music is one of the tools that can be used to reintroduce us to the God self. So that's a double conversation that has to be had. The Illuminati today versus the original Illuminati. Our people have always been the bearers of light, and we're still the bearers of light, which is why they're using our music and our energy to mistrain or to miseducate the world.
It's a different kind of light, Brother Rich, and I think in diving deeper into that particular subject, we do have to understand that they're not bringing a light to turn the light on enough as far as activating our souls so we can activate the God self. They're bringing a different kind of light.
They're trying to keep our light out.
Exactly.
You know, in terms of this move, you know, you brought up Aspiro. I think that's how you pronounce it, Aspiro.
Yeah. Right.
Do you think, like, if you're a black businessman and you're in the music industry, do you think it's safe, or just any industry, not just music industry, but you're trying to develop, you're trying to be that landlord, like what we talked about? Do you think it's okay to take investments from, you know, maybe a white firm or somebody from Sweden or a billionaire Russian or something like that? Do you think that's a safe move to make? And the reason why I asked that is because they said, I don't know how true it is, but I've heard for a while that Elijah Muhammad took money from H.L. Hunt, this Texas oil man, a white Texas oil man. He used to get some millions of dollars from this rich oil Texas man, but people say don't ever take money from a white person because they're going to end up owning your shit. And by the time you look up, it ain't going to be yours no more. So what's your take on that?
That's very interesting. Let me ask my boss. So what do you think about that?
You know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's a tricky question because, you know, we do need money. Well, I'll say this. Enemy Minds Radio, we tell people if you would like to donate to our show, here's the information. You can go to PayPal, put in the email address. We're not doing a litmus test on people who send us money. If you like our show, if you like what we do, and we do have white listeners, believe it or not, who listen to us and who support us. Griff has white people that comes to his lectures. I mean, you would never believe that they could sit in a room and listen to some of the stuff that he says. You know what I'm saying? They support him. It is what it is. But, so I think on that scale, we're not sitting back saying, oh, we don't want your money, this and that. Now, if we're talking about building a school where we're trying to, you have this whole thing with the schools and you being able to get money from the government and be able to get assistance in order to further your school. Well, we have African-centered schools out here who are like, we don't want that money. So we'll struggle and we'll do what we have to do. It's a matter of discernment, Would I take money from the Klan? No. Would I sit down and do an event and a lecture or something or a debate and challenge them in order to make money for our cause? Yeah, I would. So, it's just a matter of discernment. I don't know what was, in Elijah Muhammad's head. I don't even pretend to know what was in his head at the time. But I do know that he was trying to build a nation, and it takes money in order to do that.
Brother Rich, it's funny. It says here that the three biggest misconceptions about the music industry and Jay-Z's Tidal company, which is doomed anyway. It says the verdict is out. Tidal is likely headed towards a wipeout. Virtually every tech and music publication, with the predictable exception of Billboard, which was given an exclusive interview with founder Jay-Z, is extremely skeptical of Tidal, the rapper's artist's first streaming music platform. Bob Lefsetz called it dead on arrival. Stereo Gum called it half-ass hybrid. Let me tell you something, man. It's something that white people see in this that a lot of people just don't see. And keep in mind what I said early on. We're looking at it through the lens of a fan. People will actually attack us, Brother Rich. When you put this up tomorrow, we're going to get attacked based on the fact that they love these artists for some strange reason. It's almost like the more they talk down and dirty to us, it seems like the more the masses of the people love these artists. And we don't hold these artists to a standard that we would expect from mature millionaires that we've been supporting since day one. Something else has to come from Jay-Z, Tidal, and some of these companies in reference to how they treat the average artist and how they treat the average fan, man.
Let me say something real quick, Brother Rich, because I just wrote something down. And this is just a lesson for the young, aspiring businessman and businesswoman who's listening to this and person who's into music. We really, this whole system of capitalism has completely bamboozled us. And I remember watching the movie Wall Street, and Matthew McConaughey said that the whole idea of investing in stocks is all a facade. It's like magic, where you're actually spending your money to buy something that you never really even get. You invest money in oranges, you invest money in crops, you invest money. You never actually hold something tangible in your hand that, is worth your money. It's the risk factor, yes. But if we think about that, and then we think about the whole idea, and this goes back to what you said about tenant versus landlord. When you invest, when you buy music on the internet, you're not actually getting something in your hand. Yes, you get the music, but if we are trying to build a nation and to actually build our people up, we talk about economics and all this stuff a lot, but we don't really talk about building infrastructure to have economics. Where's the manufacturing sectors? All of these brothers and sisters have had clothes. Beyonce has a clothing line. Jay-Z had a clothing line. Kanye West now has a clothing line that, he stole from the Matrix, but that's another story. All of these artists have clothing lines. None of them manufacture their own clothes. So this is, we need to get, we're so indoctrinated into this system. The whole idea of spending $56 million, and of course this is modern day technology, so you kind of going with the flow of how things go. But when do we start recreating the game? When do we create something new to like totally break the mold? This isn't a game changer. You jumping on ship. When are we gonna build a ship? When are we gonna say, black people predominantly all across the world represent the highest selling artists in pop culture. What are we going to do that's monumental, that's going to totally change the face of music and at the same time change the condition of our people around the world? That's a game changer.
Music that comes from us anyway, Rich. And keep in mind that this is a relaunch, Brother Rich. I'm not sure if you knew that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I just read that a little while ago.
Right. This is a relaunch. So they launched this before. I think this is why those whites, they keep their finger on the pulse of what's going on with this new format, which is not a new format to them. They've been streaming for a long time. We just haven't caught up to the technology. And they haven't found a way to get that $400 device in the hands of a 13-year-old because they need mom's credit card. How much your cell phone cost, Brother Rich?
I got the iPhone. What was it about? I think my contract, I got it for $250.
$250, and you have to have the contract for what, a couple of years?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're able to get Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and a few other things. That phone can damn near change your diaper, right or wrong. That's how expensive it is. I'm just saying, man. They're trying to find a way to get that device into the hands of a 13-year-old. You know why? Because the telecommunication companies now are the record companies, Brother Rich. T-Mobile, AT&T, and the rest of them are going to partner up with Pandora and the rest. So you have to have a device in order to listen to Pandora, right or wrong.
Right.
Behind closed doors, some people are in bed with one another. They're not letting you in. Jay-Z, stop that. You and some artists talk about having everybody have a piece of Tidal. Stop that. This is a relaunch, dude. Plain and simple. We're not foolish enough to fall for this madness.
Do you think, I was looking at, I was doing some research on it today, and I was kind of overwhelmed at the amount of backlash that, like, even with the article you just read, the 3 misconceptions of why it's doomed to fail, and it got a lot of bad reviews from, different online blogs and sources. And it made me think when you just talking just now, do you think that a lot of these white publications are somewhat jealous that a black person may be attempting, even if it's a facade, to make a power move? Because what made me think about that is because I remember when Oprah said she's going to get her own network to own, I remember she got a lot of backlash, and people were saying, it's doomed to fail. It's not as easy as she think it is. That's much harder than just running a talk show. Even with Kanye's clothing line, the designer saying it's, it's horrible. It's the worst thing we ever seen. Oh my God, he knows nothing about fashion. He needs to stick to music. Do you think that when these artists like Jay-Z and Kanye coming straight out the ghetto, coming out Marcy Projects or coming out to Chicago like Kanye West, and they try to venture off outside of music into other business ventures, do you think it makes these white publications and white media outlets jealous, and they try to put a bad word out in order to influence our perception of what they're about to do?
I don't think so. I think that's just the nature of business. Business is warfare. And I think that's how they approach it, whether it's a foreign company or whether it's someone black or whatever. So I don't know. The whole idea of them being jealous, I don't know, Brother Rich. Their faces are still on the money, man. Everything in society speaks to their existence. They're able to walk into the same bank that you and I can walk into, and trust me, they can get the loan. They're working off of trust funds and a few other things. They can partner up with other people that kind of look like them or that in the same club, and they can make business happen. So I'm not sure if I could go with the whole idea of an emotional thing like being jealous. I can say the whole idea of business and business practices. I think when they kind of look at someone like Jay-Z, I think they feel that Jay-Z has built his empire in a very hypocritical, contradictory kind of vibe. Meaning, You talk about the hood, like Zaza said earlier, you done sold enough drugs, all right, that had the ripple effect that my grandfather's father's son's uncle's nephew will be affected by it. But yet you turn around and you don't put any money back, but yet we see you over in Africa doing a water project with the devil, Bill Gates. So I think a lot of times when they look at stuff like this, they say, wow, okay, here I am working a normal job. I have talent. I have a degree. I don't think it's jealousy, but I think when they look at the whole idea of getting a piece of the American pie, I think they feel that they've been dealt a bad hand, man. Not by their relatives, but I think by the whole idea of the nature of what it is to do business. They're the first ones to say, to tell Jay-Z and Kanye West, no one will buy your clothes. Black people are not into that, but they will turn around and sell them same clothes to black people. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's a double-edged sword. We just have to be careful how we swing it.
Yeah, I would. I mean, of course, we can't account for every little, idiot with a blog on the internet. I think there probably are a few little, there's probably just as many blacks that are jealous of, Jay-Z making those moves too. But I think bigger than that, what Griff said is probably the most important thing, that business is warfare. And that you will see when I look the story up, the first articles that came up were all negative.
Right.
So I don't think it's a question of them being jealous per se. I think that they are doing their part to protect the system of racism, white supremacy, and to work to make sure that it fails. If you've ever read the book The Millionaire Next Door, white people think about money totally different than the way we think about money. And you mentioned Oprah Winfrey Network and how they said that it was going to fail and it wasn't going to be successful. Well, look what she had to do to keep the show on the air. It's basically become the anti-black network of all networks. I mean, the stuff that she's putting, on her show now is despicable. Kanye West did all that screaming and hollering and crying about his fashion line. Did black people sew his clothes? You got these expensive, ugly tennis shoes. Okay, that's your thing if that's what you want to wear. But did black people construct them? We have people who know how to sew. So I think, they're looking at this as, is it a power move or is it a linear move? When companies, do mergers and take over other countries and conglomerates and whatnot, they'll buy a company and then totally disintegrate it and then trash it just to make a quick profit. So it's like, what type of real business savvy do we have if we are making short-term moves that may make money and may not make money versus moves that, whether they make a quick profit or a long-term profit, they actually impact the people? That's real power. Money is not power. Money is not power, and people need to stop saying that. They print it every single day, and they can push a button and completely delete everything in your bank account. Money is not power. What you use your money for and what you use your voice for and what you use your clout for is how you gain power.
Brother Rich, one thing. The McDonald's really don't care where Burger King set their thing up at. Or I should say vice versa. Burger King don't care where McDonald's set their stores up at, because they know X amount of people in the country are going to buy X amount of burgers. And only X amount of people are going to go to McDonald's. When McDonald's close, or they close on a Sunday afternoon and Burger King is open, guess where them people are gone? Burger King, right or wrong?
Right.
I thought you were going to say Wendy's. But anyway. Why, Brother Rick? Because the people are hungry. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
People have to buy their music from some place. I think these people, business-wise, are setting themselves up to get the record piece of that pie that's being left out there, and that pizza is going stale, man. And they're trying to get the rest of that pie, for real.
I got one more question. I was just about up. I noticed that from when did MC Hammer come out? What was that? The 90s, right? Yeah, I think the 90s. When MC Hammer came out, and he started doing, and he went somewhat corporate. One of the first rap artists to go corporate, and he was doing commercials. He got a lot of backlash for it. called a lot of coons and Uncle Tom and he's buck dancing. We fast forwarded 2015. Jay-Z is highly, highly praised for his corporate business moves. What do you think changed in the masses of the people where, I guess, in one era, you're looked down upon for going corporate, and in another era, you're praised for going corporate? So it's like this definition of, you know, if they call MC Hammer a coon, it changes from era to era. So what do you think changed in the mindset of the people where Jay-Z's praised, he's Hov the God, MC Hammer was a cornball, you dancing in McDonald's commercials? Come on, man. Why? Like, you know, they was talking a lot of shit about him. So what changed in the mindset, the consciousness of the people?
I think the thing that changes the whole idea, we allowed other people to dictate to us to change. You understand what I'm saying? There's other people that came into the music industry and changed how we view our own music. Can you imagine? We have a drumming circle, African drummers, right? A white person come in and tell us how to view our own drumming and put it in categories, and then try to sell it back to us, dashikis and all, poofies and all. You understand what I'm saying? And I think what happened with MC Hammer, he had his niche. We've always danced. MC Hammer just regurgitated some Rick James stuff and some other stuff and made his little money. You understand? There's nothing wrong with that. Jay-Z made his money another way. But I think those that control the Jay-Z and the MC Hammer is the problem that we have as a people. You understand what I'm saying? They changed the entire hip-hop game to the point where it almost seems like aspects of hip-hop turned on itself. Of course, rap turned on itself. Of course, graffiti got to the point where no one was doing graffiti anymore because no one wanted to catch that charge of defaming a store, a building, a train, or whatever. You understand what I'm saying? Then the whole idea of DJing got morphed out simply because they introduced the whole idea of a CD. So now DJs, I swear, man, when they mention this dude's name, hold on for a second, I'm breaking from what I wanted to say. Calvin Harris. I talk about it in my lecture. Calvin Harris made millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars as a DJ. You don't see black people making that kind of money as far as an art form is concerned. You understand what I'm saying? It's truly ridiculous and embarrassing.
Well, you know, of course, me growing up in Oakland and seeing MC Hammer's, you know, evolution and transition, a thing that a lot of people don't know about him, well, they probably know now, he basically went broke trying to take everybody from the hood with him and put them on and help them financially, as well as some bad money decisions. But the whole idea of, you know, the pop music aspects of what he did and him being a dancer and whatnot, you know, it's just a part of the hood that was never really going to accept that. We much more prone to, you know, bobbing our heads to crack music, you know what I'm saying, than some music that even if we dance to, that, you know, it's not the same. It's like apples and oranges. But we don't understand the science of business. And the you know, Griff talked about the celebrity worship. I put the article up on Enemy Minds Radio. Mind you, I didn't write the article. I just put the article up. Somebody on, I think it was theroot.com, wrote an article about Jay-Z's comment about water, and basically saying, you know, people in Detroit don't have water, so no, water's not free. And they came back like, why are you blasting him? You should have called him and made this private. What? First of all, this is not Griff Zaza. I put up 95% of what's on our Facebook page.
I should have called Jay-Z?
Yeah, you should have called Jay-Z about what he said about water. It's like, okay, number one, if I had put up an article about the Detroit water situation, you wouldn't have said anything. You would have scrolled right past it, wouldn't have had anything, any input, whatever. The fact that you saw Jay-Z's name was the only thing that even brought you to this link. And then you didn't even read it. Because if you had, you wouldn't have even come off like that. What they were doing was using the situation with Jay-Z talking about water to bring our attention back to the dire situation that our people are in Detroit. I read an article a few weeks ago about a young boy in his teens who saved $160,000. He had a collection of Jordans. He sold his collection of Jordans and made $160,000 and put a down payment down on the house. This is what the type of teaching that we need to start using to reach these young people. Because you don't only have to get on by putting out music, by selling your soul to the record industry, by signing a 360 deal, by putting your behind and your chest all in the screen, or getting ass implants and shots and, you know, all of these different things that our people are doing now just to get recognized and have fame in American society. You don't have to do that. You love sneakers? Let's find a way to flip that and turn that into something real. You love hair? You love doing hair? Let's find a way to flip that. Let's tap into the brilliance of our people and then make capitalism and make the corporate structures work for us. We keep trying to get in where they want us to fit in. We have to start designing our own concepts of what business is. So, you know, it's that whole thing with Jay-Z versus MC Hammer. I think Jay-Z has a more owner type of mentality, and MC Hammer was, you know, just kind of riding the wave of what was taking place at the time. And Jay-Z, I'm sure, learned a lot from MC Hammer's mistakes in order for him to be able to make the moves that he's making right now. It was just a different time. So the question for us is, in 5 and 10 years from now, what type of moves are we going to be making, the hip-hop generation, those of us who love the music and who are a part of this culture? What type of moves are we going to be making to set the standard for the generations following behind us?
And then we have to keep in mind, Brother Rich, Dame Dash's influence and what Dame Dash was doing in those meetings that we were in privy to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Right. Big up to Dame Dash. But we got to understand that, man. So Dame Dash's mind, being in the room with making them deals with and for Jay-Z, come on, man. Can you imagine if MC Hammer had Dame Dash?
Right, exactly.
Where would MC Hammer be right now? And for Jay-Z to act as though Dame Dash was never there, come on, bro, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah. This time, man, I want to thank y'all for coming on the show. And let the people, I know y'all got a lot coming up. New York, I think y'all going to be in Washington also. So
let
the
people,
people.
A whole bunch of things coming up.
So,
man. I'm second string. I'm 6 man off the bench, man.
Let the people know what's coming up, y'all.
Hold on 1 second.
Friday, April 3rd, we are going to be at Howard University at the Blackburn Auditorium. Griff will be there. I'm going to actually be on the panel with Irritated Genie, Wesley Muhammad, Brother Louis Ali, Malik Farrakhan, and Dr. Ridgely. We're going to be talking about how integration failed us. And then the next day, we'll be at Howard University again at the Blackburn Auditorium. Doors open at 2 o'clock. The lecture starts at 3. That will be myself and Griff. I will be dealing with Black youth in peril. Griff will be talking about the manipulation of Black consciousness. On April the 5th, right, I will be, Sunday, April 5th, I will be at Nicholas Bookstore doing a synopsis of my book, Black Matters. I'm definitely looking forward to that. What time does it start? I don't have the flyer in front of me. It starts at 3 o'clock. That's at Nicholas Bookstore in Brooklyn. And then on April the 8th, I will be at the UAM in Brooklyn, also doing a synopsis of my book. Probably I'm going to gear that more towards Black youth in peril. But that's these next 4 events that are coming up. Please come out and show your love and support us. We thank you, as always, Brother Rich, for the platform and for us being able to discuss these important topics. Our website is under construction. Yeah. Will it be ready? No, it's not ready yet. But we're still on Facebook at Enemy Minds Radio, NMEMINDZ Radio. We're on Twitter at Enemy Minds Radio. Our email address is mindsmatterbtrs@gmail.com. That's MINDZMATTER BTRS@gmail.com. And if you don't know Professor Griff's Professor Griff's phone number. I don't know where you've been, but it's 678-557-2919 if you have any questions about any of the upcoming events that we have going on.
I got the second most popular number in hip-hop, man. Mike Jones. Anyway, Dr. We're bringing in Dr. Francis Cress-Wilson Saturday, May 23rd at the Fulton County Southwest Art Center in Atlanta, Georgia. That's Saturday, May 23rd. It's called the Divine Goddess Principle. Marimba Ani, Zaza Ali, and Dr. Francis Cress-Wilson with your host, Mr. Professor Griff. That's Saturday, May 23rd. They can call me at 678-557-2919 to get tickets.
Okay, y'all, and this is Brother Rich. Check out the website, undergroundrailroadnet.com. And we signing out. We're going to see y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.